Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to your Nursing Digital Open Day. We'll make a start on the presentation just in a few minutes. I'll just introduce myself first of all. So my name is Sophie. I am one of our nursing lecturers on the team. I'm a mental health nurse by background. So that's kind of what I do. That's my clinical area, and that's also the part of the programme that I teach on. So today in the presentation, we're going to be having a bit of an overview of the course, so what it entails, what it involves, what's exciting about it, what's inspiring about it, what's unique about this course. You'll have some opportunities for question and answers at the end. I'm joined by my colleague, Rebecca. If I could just hand over to Rebecca to introduce herself.
Hi, my name's Rebecca Mummery and I'm one of the lecturers as well. I'm also the adult lead, so my background's adult nursing and I lead on the modules and the adult field. I teach with the adult modules about holistic care, and I'm also the placement lead as well. So I sort out your placements, arrange them, organise them, and try and get you to areas that you've got an interest in, whether it's at the start of the programme or towards the end. Thank you, Sophie.
Brilliant, thanks Rebecca. So I thought we could start off the presentation just by talking a little bit about ourselves first of all, and kind of why are we doing nursing? Why do we think nursing is an exciting career? So I thought I'd talk briefly about my nursing journey and how I came into nursing. So I think like many people, making decisions about my career, kind of finishing off my A-levels, I was a little bit stuck, really. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was quite academic. I did well at school, but didn't really want to do a degree that kind of wouldn't definitely lead me anywhere. I didn't want to study something like English literature where the career path wasn't clear, where the options weren't clear. I was also quite a kind, caring person. That was kind of in my nature, but I wasn't really sure how to turn that into something that was meaningful or that was a job or a career at the time. I wanted to do something that was varied as well. I wanted to have a career where if I wanted to change my mind, if I wanted to explore another avenue or another path, that was something that I could do. And coincidentally, around that time, my dad became quite unwell and he required a hospital admission. And it was a really, really stressful and difficult time for my family. But one of the things that really inspired me within that was the nursing care that he received. The nurses who cared for him really saw him as a whole person and not just kind of what was wrong with him. And they were incredible and they completely inspired me. And so I felt that nursing kind of combined all the things that I wanted to bring. It was academic, it had lots of different options, it was about people, it was about caring, it was about being professional and improving people's lives. So that was kind of what started my nursing journey. I'm a mental health nurse by background, as I mentioned earlier, and I trained specifically in mental health nursing. I did an integrated master's degree, so similar to this course. I did a 4-year course to qualify. And when I first qualified, I ended up going into an area of practice that I didn't expect. I actually worked with people who have kind of cognitive disorders, dementia, who experience challenging behaviour. Simply because I really enjoyed that kind of very patient-facing, compassion-focused type of care, and it was quite challenging and dynamic and something different every day. So that was where I did my preceptorship. I then moved on through my career. I've worked in lots of different kind of acute environments or inpatient environments in mental health, but I eventually decided to specialise in a branch of mental health practice called liaison psychiatry, which is about the link between physical and mental health. So my clinical specialist role is working in A&E, assessing people's mental health, kind of if they're in crisis or if they're struggling, and my kind of particular area of interest is dementia and kind of alcohol related mental health issues and substance kind of misuse and dependence. I've had an absolutely fantastic career clinically. I absolutely loved it. I nursed frontline in the pandemic in A&E, which was a very challenging but very rewarding experience. But then the beauty of nursing kind of really came to life when I decided actually I want to do something different now. I need a change. I need something new. And that was when, after working with a few students as their practice assessor, I thought, you know what, maybe education would be great. I taught over in the medical school in Nottingham for a while, and then I ended up here at lovely Leicester. So that's my nursing journey. It's been a fantastic career. I wouldn't change a thing. The variety has been brilliant. I've worked with some incredible people, absolutely love it. And I still work clinically now as well, kind of on a bank weekend basis. But that's me. Rebecca, would you mind sharing a little bit about your nursing journey and what led you into nursing?
Yes, yeah. So I'm from Leicester. I've not moved very far. I still live in Leicester. I trained in Leicester, and I kind of fell into nursing, if I'm honest. Wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do, and whilst I got a job after I left A levels, just working in the hospital, and I kind of saw other people, worked on clinics doing admin, and I thought, oh, that looks quite interesting. Shadowed them for a bit, and they'd not long launched the degree only kind of pathway. So I've been qualified nearly 15 years now. And at the time it was mainly a diploma, and they just launched a 3-year honours degree. So I applied for that at De Montfort, and did all my placements at Leicester. And I kind of like the acute side of things. So my last placement was on the coronary care unit, which was heart attacks, out of hospital cardiac arrests, very, very sick people. And I stayed there for most of my career. Yeah, I left and did a bit of teaching, got my teaching qualification, went back as a sister, and then kind of left again and did a bit of deteriorating response team. So you go around the hospitals picking up the poorly people and trying to stop them from having a cardiac arrest. And then I kind of fell into education, really. I enjoyed teaching whilst I was that role I had. You did a bit more teaching sessions about sepsis and acute care onto the ward. And that's kind of how it happened. So I'd done my teaching qualification many years ago. And I thought, well, there was some posts coming up here at Leicester Uni. So yeah, and I've been here, 3 years now. I've still got a very passionate interest in like student wellbeing. I've just completed some research into compassion fatigue, and student nurses, and how the curriculum is or isn't designed to help you through your training. And I think for me now, I kind of enjoy that pastoral role of seeing young people and older people come through, go through the nursing, and helping you to be the type of nurse that you want to be, really. So that's where I am.
Thank you, Rebecca. Okay. So moving on in the presentation now, thank you, Rebecca, for sharing that. So just a few things to highlight about the University of Leicester. I like to think of this university as almost a bit of a sleeper hit, really. It's always been doing fabulous things, but it is kind of finally being recognised for that work, certainly in that kind of national perspective. So we are a TEF certified gold university. That's the Teaching Excellence Framework. Effectively, what that means is that we have the highest rank possible for our amazing student experience and outcomes as well. Students achieve very well here. They feel the standard of teaching that they receive is excellent. It's not just about what we do, it's about what our students say as well. We are the Daily Mail University of the Year for 2025, and celebrating everything that we have achieved, how we contribute to our local community, to research excellence, to student experience and student outcomes as well. And we've also been shortlisted for Times University of the Year as well. We're waiting to hear about that. So lots to celebrate here at Leicester, lots of reasons to come and join us here. So we'll have a little look at why we think you should study nursing, an overview of the course, and some admissions and entry requirements. So a little bit of background on the university, first of all. Leicester, in my view, is almost kind of the first kind of GoFundMe project as a university that I'm aware of. It's crowdfunded. This was founded by the people of Leicester as a memorial to the First World War. It was about giving back to the community, using these experiences to propel people forward, to educate them, to improve their lives, improve their well-being, and celebrating the power of education. So a really, really powerful background to this university, and something that we celebrate with our kind of motto, or our kind of university charter, which is Citizens of Change. Lots of stats here. I won't go through them all, but effectively we're doing very well as a university. We are ranked 26th in the UK in terms of Times Higher Education. We are 30th in terms of the Research Excellence Framework as well. We are rated very highly in lots of good university guides as well. So very good global and national reputation for the university. In terms of your accommodation, if you're not from Leicester, if you're not local, if you'd be joining us here, moving here, we have guaranteed accommodation for all of our first year students. The average is around £69 a week with your bills included, and there is a free student shuttle bus available as well. A particular interest in nursing students and healthcare students is also the Hospital Hopper, which is a free bus if you just show your student ID that takes you to all of the different hospital sites around Leicester, so Glenfield, Leicester Royal, etc., etc. So a nice free way of getting around the city for people as well there. So we'll have a look now at the course kind of in a little bit more detail. So why should you study nursing at Leicester? We are, first of all, this is an easy course to sell, but we are the only course in the UK that integrates leadership into our teaching. At the end of this degree, you will leave with a master's degree, a master's qualification. So you'll have MSci after your name, which always feels great. You will have successful registration onto the NMC register if you complete all of the required elements and you demonstrate the character required. You will have a leadership qualification and portfolio, and this is really key. This is a really kind of attractive element to this course. And people might be aware of, for example, how the NHS works. We have the kind of banding system. So band 5 is normally where people start within the NHS, kind of as a preceptorship nurse if they're doing a nursing qualification. Really, to go above that kind of band 6, 7, you need a leadership qualification if you want to go into managerial roles or clinical specialist roles. It comes integrated into this course, so you are well prepared to step into those roles. You are well kind of supported to explore and expand your career as you would like to. You'll be very, very well prepped with that leadership qualification. It's all integrated. So we offer mostly dual field courses, which again is another very appealing element of these courses. Not only will you have a master's degree and a leadership qualification, but many of you will also be dual field nurses, which will mean that you can practice in a huge scope of clinical areas. We offer mental health and adult and mental health and child. So within these, you will cover mental health as a whole. So you'll be looking at the mental health of children and adults and older adults within both courses. But then your other half of that course will be focusing on specifically adult nursing or child nursing. So you'll have a level of kind of expertise and confidence and competence to practice in a huge scope of areas. I kind of mentioned earlier that I didn't really know kind of what I wanted when I qualified, and I ended up working with people with dementia and cognitive disorders because I had a placement experience that I loved, and that's another beauty, I think, of this course. You get to explore so many different clinical opportunities. We do also offer single field adult nursing that is with leadership included, and it is a master's degree, but there isn't that dual field element. So that would mean that your teaching and your placement experiences are all focused around adult nursing. So this course is it's been created in partnership with lots and lots of different people, and the aim is to really develop a high quality nurse who can deliver expert care and pioneer leadership. You're going to be ready to go into clinical practice, ready to lead, feeling confident, feeling competent. So it's a partnership between the university, and we're very lucky to have very positive relationships with a lot of our local trusts. So for example, UHL, University Hospitals Leicester, and Leicestershire Partnership Trust, or LPT. So they're the kind of main contacts and partnerships that we have. There are also placement opportunities in Coventry, Northampton and Peterborough. It's 50-50 across all of the fields of registration. Rebecca, could I call on you to just briefly discuss kind of how the placement system works?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
So over the 4 years, you will be doing 50% of your time in the classroom and then 50% on placement. In year one, the placements are 6 weeks, so you'll have 2 6-week placements. And then the placements get progressively longer over the course of the programme. And then in your final year, you'll have 2 13-week placements. You will have a mixture of, if you're on the dual field, so mental health and physical health. So physical health, we tend to call it physical health, and that encompasses whether you're on the adult or the child branch. If you're on the child branch, you'll go to children's areas, and likewise with the adults. Areas such as A&E, HTU. We have community hospitals, practice nursing, district nursing, palliative care in the community, palliative care. We've got hospice placements as well. And that's for both the adult and the child branches. For mental health, we've got the main Leicester Partnership Trust hospitals, where you've got the acute inpatient services, and then we have community services as well. So across the programme, you'll get a very diverse look at nursing in different situations, in different settings, and that will help match in with the programme and what it is you're studying at the time. Like Sophie said, we do use Leicester, but we also use Kettering, Coventry and Peterborough. We've also recently, just like in the last 6 months, started to use Nottingham hospitals. So we have students who live like Nottingham or Peterborough, and they commute in for their study periods, and then when it's placement, they have their placements out there, so then they can stay at home with family or not necessarily have student accommodation. So there is that flexibility. The benefits of this being a very small course, small in the fact that, you know, our numbers when the course started, 5 years ago now, we took about 10 students. Now we've got a cohort of 80. And you know, we were I think it's about 82 actually. We're only supposed to take 80, but we've gone over. The popularity of the course is it's gone through the roof. But even with that in mind, we're only looking at taking a cohort of 100. You know, even, you know, as the years progress, we're looking at 100 per year, and with that we get to know you. So as placement lead, I get to know students. I get to know, you know, where they live, what areas, you know, if you've got caring responsibilities or you've got social circumstances that mean that it's, you know, difficult for you to get to certain areas, or it's easier for you to be in certain areas. So you get that more of a personalised feel when it comes to placements, and also with the teaching as well, because, you know, we know all of the students. We know them by name. We know the ones that, you know, are doing really well. We know the ones that are in the middle and the ones that, you know, are struggling for whatever reason. And I don't feel that you get that from other universities. I mean, when I trained at De Montfort many years ago, they took 2 intakes a year, and there was 200, 300 per intake. And you know, when I was doing the degree, there were smaller numbers, so they knew us, but they didn't know the diploma students. And I think that's one of the selling points with this course, really. And when if you do come here, within the first kind of couple of weeks, I'll send out a questionnaire about placements, you know, asking, do you car drive? Do you have a car? Where have you got any specific interests? And then I send that out yearly, because, you know, people's interests change. You might have wanted cardiology, but you change your mind and you want to try surgery now. So I try and get you that experience that you like. We also have car hire here. So if you've got a driving license, but you can't get a car, or you haven't got a car, you can have one from the university. So the university, I think, have got 4 or 5 electric cars, which you can have. We'll pay for the business insurance. You can charge your car up for free, and that can be your car going to and from placements. Likewise, if they're all out on placements, we've got a contract with a car rental company, so you'll get a petrol car, and you pay for the petrol, but you'll get the money back. So we try and make it as easy as possible for you to get to where you need to go, because we do understand that, you know, this degree is different to your standard degrees, where you've got the clinical professional element and you've got the academic. So we try and make it easy for you and help you as best we can, really. Well, I think that's all for placements.
Hey, Brill, thanks so much, Rebecca. So moving on now to look at other elements of the course. Something else to kind of draw your attention to, another really positive thing, is our interprofessional working. So I'm currently our interprofessional lead for the nursing school in the wider School of Healthcare. We have very, very positive relationships within the School of Healthcare with all of our colleagues. So lots and lots of interprofessional learning opportunities because we want to reflect practice. When you qualify as a nurse, you're not going to be just working with nurses. You're going to be working with doctors, you're going to be working with physios, you're going to be working with midwives, radiographers, pharmacists, lots of different professionals. So we embed that into the very beginning of your course. So you develop those relationships and you develop that understanding of other professions, that respect for other professions, that value of other professions, and they feel that for you too. So you go out into the clinical world ready and prepared for that. So as mentioned here in the presentation, your first year module is shared with midwifery, the medical school, physiotherapy and radiography, and that looks specifically at professionalism and team working in an interprofessional team. All of your leadership modules are developed and delivered with our midwifery team as well. So we have very close relationships with the midwifery team here at Leicester, and you're working professionally with them as well. There are also lots of additional opportunities, things like simulation. We're currently running a public health development based in the medical school. So lots and lots of different opportunities to work with different professions and learn about them and learn with them and learn from them. So Rebecca's mentioned our placements and how these kind of function and work as a structure, so I'm not going to go over that again, but just to draw your attention to this lovely tweet here from the COPD nursing team for one of our students, just celebrating all of the fantastic work that she did. As Rebecca said, we offer lots and lots of different opportunities, but I think one of the real highlights of working here at Leicester is kind of the fact that we get so much positive feedback from placements, because many of our students have this dual field understanding, and they're very often adding something to that placement area, and kind of supporting even the clinicians to kind of, I don't know, learn something new maybe, and lots of kind of mutual respect and support within placement areas. Lots of different assessment types here at Leicester, and I think that's because we recognise that not everybody loves writing essays and assignments. So this course is very much designed to be inclusive and be supportive of different learning needs. We do have exams, we only have a few, and these are mainly around kind of anatomy and physiology, really. We do have essays, so assignments, we have presentations. My module currently has a presentation based on complex and long-term mental health care. We have a Dragon's Den assessment, which is really exciting, which is kind of about your leadership skills. It's about, can you innovate? Can you create something new? So you're asked to design a little bit of a business case for an innovation in practice, and then present this to a panel. So it's a really fun day, a really exciting form of assessment. We do things like posters where we ask you to design a health promotion scheme. We also offer mock interviews, and I think this is a form of assessment the students find really helpful because it's helping and preparing you to go into the clinical world. It's giving you an opportunity to practice your interview skills so you can go out there and get that nursing job of your dreams. So really exciting. We have your dissertation as well. I'm currently a dissertation supervisor for just under 15 students, and it's so rewarding, it's so exciting, and very often students have kind of identified something that they're passionate about, something that they care about, and then they go on to research that. And we have students who are currently pursuing publication through their dissertations, and as I say, Leicester is known for its research excellence. So really, really excited. Don't feel intimidated by the dissertation. It's a highly supportive process. You have an allocated supervisor. Lots of students are really enjoying it. There are plenty of opportunities as well for formative assessments, mock exams, things like that. And we also do OSCEs, which is what you can see on the picture here, which stands for Ordinal Statistical Clinical Examinations, which effectively mean checking that you can do a skill and that you are competent in the delivery of that skill. So in the picture here, we've got one of our students demonstrating that they can safely administer medication. So that's what OSCEs are all about, and that's our different assessment types. Looking a little bit wider now at the School of Healthcare. So as I said, we work very closely with the medical school. We have a very, very strong ethos of interprofessional learning and multi-professional team working here, and lots of facilities that come along with that. We have our new lecture and seminar rooms over at the building that we're based in. That is the Robert Kilpatrick Clinical Sciences Building, or RKCSB for short. And if you're not sure on how to find us, if you do come along for an open day, please do have a look on our Instagram. There is a little video showing you how to get to the building, but it's embedded in the Leicester Royal Infirmary, which I think is another great thing. You're kind of learning in the environment that you're going to be working in. So you're kind of accumulating yourself already and developing a familiarity and a comfortability there. We have our brand new clinical skills unit with mock wards, lots and lots of simulation facilities. We're currently building mental health simulation facilities as well. So kind of environments that might look like a community setting where perhaps somebody lives who you might go and visit as a nurse. The clinical skills, the mannequin in particular is absolutely fantastic. I did not realise how high tech this was. She can imitate a cardiac arrest. She can cry out in pain. She can blink. She has a pulse. It's really, really exciting. The blinking is a little bit scary when all the lights are off at kind of 6 p.m. and you're leaving and you didn't realise she was still switched on. But she's absolutely fantastic. And there is a real positivity to that, in that you have lots of opportunities here at Leicester to practice your skills and build your confidence in a safe way that's all simulated. So then when you go out into practice, you're not feeling out of your depth, you're not feeling scared. You've had someone like Rebecca or one of our other lecturers, for example, Chris or Hannah or Terry or Michelle, who might have worked with you on a certain skill to kind of develop your understanding and knowledge. And that could be something like, I don't know, testing someone's blood pressure. It could be something like analysing somebody's mental state, but you'll go into practice thinking, oh, I've done this before, I've tried this before. So lots and lots of positivity there. We also have a dissection room, which not many universities do, which gives you the opportunity to kind of learn, I suppose, that anatomy and physiology in a much more kind of realistic way. Lots of people comment on how it really makes those textbooks kind of come to life, and it really helps them to build their knowledge and understanding. So as Rebecca mentioned, we are a 50-50 split. That's because of the NMC requirements for you to qualify. Effectively, you have so many hours of theory and so many hours of practice that you have to qualify as a nurse. So the course is split 50% of clinical practice or placements and 50% of theory. Lots and lots of different ways of learning, lectures, seminars, online learning. We do kind of blended learning approaches where we might give you something to look at before a session, and then in the lecture we might discuss that in more detail, for example. And as I mentioned, lots of clinical skills and simulation as well. It is a full-time course, and you are expected to be there kind of full-time. There are additional self-directed hours within that as well. And I've mentioned things like our mock-up hospital wards and our mannequins. We do also have actors who come in to play the role of patients, certainly in mental health simulation. That's really, really valuable. We work with people with lived experience and clinicians as well, who kind of come in to work with you. Kind of leading on to that nicely, a little bit about service user involvement. And again, this was another thing that really appealed to me working at Leicester, was that there's such a high level of service user involvement, or people with lived experience, or patient involvement, however you would like to refer to it. But patients, people with lived experience are involved. They were involved in the creation of this course. Their views and opinions were taken into account to build the course from kind of the ground up. They're involved in the recruitment of students, so they're part of our interviews. So if you do apply for Leicester and you get an interview, you will be interviewed by one of us lecturers, and someone who has lived experience, a patient as well. They're involved in simulations, so they might come and play the role as an actor, or they might help us to develop a script for a simulation. They're involved in the OSCEs as well in the same capacity. digitally, and they also can mark your presentations. We have a lot of sessions that look at kind of service user experience. So we might bring someone in to tell their story and explain to you what they've experienced, so you can learn from someone's experience. Because it's all well and good us talking about kind of the research and the evidence and a textbook, but it really comes to life when someone's lived it. So that's also really valuable. A big part of your practice experience is also feedback from service users. So that's a huge part of your EPAD. There'll be a section for them to kind of fill out feedback for you, so that's part of that. We are building capacity for children and young people to get involved. Obviously this is difficult with consent and things like that, but we're involving families and carers in our sessions as well. And as I mentioned, they're a huge part of our curriculum development. I'm currently developing a session on autism spectrum disorder with someone with lived experience of autism spectrum disorder, who's going to come in and talk about their experience and deliver the session with me. So here at Leicester, we're not just about the theory being from a textbook, we're about learning from people's lived experiences. We're very lucky to have a dedicated patient and carer group here who are attached to the university, to the medical school, and work with us in our curriculum design, delivery and development. Supporting you, Rebecca mentioned a really important point here about kind of how this course is quite small, and some people might think, but that's because we can offer you that additional support, almost more of a bespoke service in a way, as a university. You know, we know all of our students, we know them by name, we know everyone in the classroom, we know all of our personal students, we know about their lives, their experiences, what they enjoy, what they don't enjoy, what they want to do in the future, all sorts of things. You have academic, personal and pastoral support. So we have our head of nursing, who is Jenna, who's absolutely fabulous. Our deputy kind of heads of nursing are our field leads now. So because this is a kind of dual course, we've split our leadership into the fields. So we have a lead of child field, who's Jenny, Rebecca is our adult field lead, and Michelle is our mental health field lead. You'll have a personal tutor who's one of us lecturers who's attached to you directly to provide you that personal and pastoral support. And I think that's a real benefit of Leicester. Rebecca mentioned kind of, you know, training in a cohort that was 200-300 students strong, and mine was too. I honestly don't think any of the staff even knew who I was, which made it really quite challenging, actually. You know, nursing's an incredible but sometimes quite challenging course, and the difference that it would have made to have that kind of that one-to-one, somebody who knew me and someone who could support me would have made such a difference. We also have a peer mentoring scheme, which is currently run by one of our mental health lecturers, that's Terry. So he has his backup buddy scheme. So that is effectively where our first years are kind of attached to a second year student. And that second year student is there to kind of support them from that almost student to student perspective. There might be something that you want to ask that maybe you don't feel you can ask a lecturer, or the lecturers might not know because they're not living that student life. So we have the peer mentoring scheme as well that's in place to support you. You'll have lots of clinical support in practice. You have your academic assessor, who's kind of one of us based in the academic institution, who's kind of there to oversee things and support you within your placements, and ultimately sign you off. You also have practice supervisors out in practice. They can be anyone. Normally they are nurses though, who are kind of there to support you as well and supervise you in practice. And then you have your practice assessor, and that's again someone who's qualified nurse who's done a special qualification that basically means they can sign you off against the NMC competencies. So lots and lots of support in practice. As I mentioned earlier, my practice assessor role was what kind of led me into education because I enjoyed it so much. The university provides lots and lots of support as well. I think, again, this is a real kind of selling point of Leicester, and particularly the student wellbeing services. We have a dedicated mental health service who can provide counselling, one-to-one support, you know, where you can kind of avoid the issues of kind of NHS waiting lists if that's something that you need if you're struggling. We have our accessibility service, which looks at kind of if you have additional learning needs. So an example might be dyslexia. We can look at how we can help and support you to achieve and succeed on the course through our accessibility services. We also have career development services as well. As I mentioned, kind of lots and lots of opportunities for that as well within the course, to help and support you to kind of succeed and achieve wherever you would like to within the very broad scope of nursing practice that's available to people. To make you aware of the NHS Learning Support Fund, this is mentioned on the website. Please do check it out. But effectively, we're aware that this course can be challenging and intense, and it's full-time. You can get a training grant if you're on a learning support funded course, which this one is. So you can have £5,000 per academic year, and I think if you're doing the mental health field, you may get an extra £1,000. There's also additional support if you're a parent or a carer. Again, please do check out the NHS Learning Support Fund website. Rebecca mentioned getting things like support for money back for travel and expenses and accommodation and things like that. And here at Leicester, we also have the Financial Hardship Fund as well. So if finances were something that you were really struggling with, the university can aim to assess and support you if they're able to. So lots of different options for financial support here as well. Employability is kind of one of the big selling points of this course. You are going to leave this course so special, so unique. You're going to have a master's degree, a leadership qualification, and more often than not, be dual qualified as well, or dual field in terms of practice. And you can join the NMC register when you complete the course successfully. There is the employability programme that you could also get involved with, and you'll have support with applying for jobs, with references. I mentioned mock interviews and things like that as well. Just a lovely tweet there from one of our students who was sharing when she successfully registered. So lots and lots of exciting opportunities for employability. And as I said, you have a huge scope for practice and also a huge scope for kind of different pathways within nursing, you know, for example, management, clinical specialism, research, education, so many different opportunities within nursing. Just leading on from that here, just some nice pictures, I suppose, celebrating the achievements of some of our students. This is Bethan here on the picture below when she won an award from the National Institute of Healthcare Research for her research work within her dissertation. We've had several students nominated for the Student Nursing Times Awards as well, which is a nationally recognised award for excellence in different things. So we had students nominated for research, for their practice, and their placement work, and we actually had a winner last year for the mental health field. So a really, really exciting time. And again, you know, myself and Rebecca have both mentioned the kind of the small numbers of the course, which is very much by design. But if you think about that in that national scope, the fact that we've had 4 or 5 people nominated for awards, you can see how special that is. Little quick rundown of applying, and I'm not going to talk through all of the grades expected because that's on our website, but effectively at A level we're asking for 3 Bs, or if you're doing a BTEC, 3 distinctions. And we also do accept access courses and T levels, and you need your GCSE Maths and English at a grade C. Your interviews will be online, they're 40 minutes via MS Teams. There'll be a group discussion and then a short situational judgment test, which is effectively, what do I do in this scenario? What would I most likely respond? If you're given an offer from your interview, please do come along to one of our offer holder days where you'll get to come and see all of our clinical simulation equipment and everything that we've got to offer. You'll meet some of our students and hear their stories. You'll hear the staff's stories. You get lunch. Really exciting, interactive day. We're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook and TikTok. Please do give us a follow, particularly Instagram. We're very active on there at the moment, and you can see what our students are up to. We have a student ambassador called Ria, who's currently sharing what she's up to on placement at the moment, so do check it out. Any questions? Thank you very much for listening. Are there any scholarships for international nursing students? We do offer financial support to international nursing students. Please do check out our website for more details on that. There is a link for you. What does a typical day look like for a nursing student? Rebecca, do you want to answer that one? What do you think, typical day?
Well, it depends where you are, really. So if you're in a study block, I mean, there are some good TikTok videos actually that some of the students have put on. If you're in a study block, then lectures tend to start around 9:30, and go on till about 12, and then you'll have lunch, and then you'll have your afternoon lectures starting at 1 till about 3, half 3. In between that, you know, some of the lectures may be like solid 9:30 till 12, or there may be like a later start, so like 10 o'clock with some pre-session reading, or they might finish earlier with some group work. Some days you've got self-directed learning to do and then submit work. So a lot of my lectures, well, not a lot of them, but I'll do like pre-session work and set an activity, a group work that you have to, you know, so you don't have to come into the classroom. You can do it remotely with you. If you get yourself into groups, you could do it remotely and, you know, in your bedrooms for whatever. And then, you know, I'll say as long as it's submitted to me by 5 o'clock on this day, so I can upload it to Blackboard and it'll help with your assessment. So we do a mixture of teaching methods. You know, it's not just you sat in a lecture and we you know, chalk and talk, as they call it. We do try and, you know, vary it up because we know everyone learns differently, and then we don't want you to be bored. I remember sat there being bored for hours, so, you know, and I don't want to do that to you. With regards to placement, again, you know, if you're working long days, you'll probably have 3 shifts a week, so that, you know, depending on what rota they give you, or you might be working Monday to Friday 8 till 4 as well. So, you know, there's no typical day. There's always something different about whether you're in the classroom, because you could be doing clinical skills, you could be in your uniform in the classroom practicing how to take blood or practicing how to put a urinary catheter in, or it could be tutorial time. So it's really, really quite diverse.
Thanks, Rebecca.
Mhm.
We just got one more question in the chat here, which is it okay if your personal statement has a focus on mental health nursing, even though you're applying for a dual award course? The short answer to that is yes, it is. It needs to be nursing specific. What I would say is that mental and physical health are linked. We all know that. That's why this dual field course is really, really valuable. You know, for example, if you were very anxious, you might struggle with something like high blood pressure. And maybe even some cardiac complications from that, you know. So I think perhaps recognising the link between physical and mental health would be something that would really blow me away. I am the admissions tutor, so I'm the member of staff who is reviewing your personal statements and references to offer out interviews. So that's absolutely fine. In terms of the name of the scholarship, I do apologise, I don't know. Please do contact the Central Admissions team or have a look on the university's website about financial guidance. I apologise, I can't be more helpful with that. But there is kind of opportunities for support for international students. Okay, I think that's the end of the questions now. Yep. Oh, do you have to do placements at A&E or on an ICU ward? The short answer is you may have to, yes.
Yeah.
However, you know, as Rebecca mentioned, if there are particular areas of interest, you know, we do endeavour to try and help and support you to go to areas of particular interest. But the answer is that where you're allocated, it might be yes. If you need additional support, you'd just let us know and we'd put that in place for you. Okay, so we're at time now for the presentation. Thank you all very much for listening, and we really appreciate your time today. Hopefully I'll hear from you all soon with an application. So thanks very much.